I call to order this hearing of the Subcommittee on Europe, Eurasia, and Emerging Threats. Today's topic is progress and challenges in the Western Balkans. After the ranking member and I each take 5 minutes to make opening remarks, each other member, if they so choose, will have the opportunity for making an opening statement as well. We will then proceed with our first panel of witnesses, and without objection, all members will have 5 days to submit their statements or questions or extraneous material for the record. Hearing no objection, so ordered. It has been almost exactly 2 years since the last time the subcommittee held a hearing on this region. I am pleased to again be returning to this important topic and to be able to hear from such informed witnesses. We all know the tragic history of the breakup of Yugoslavia during the 1990s. Yet it is remarkable that today every country in the region, including Serbia, is in some way seeking greater integration with European institutions. I congratulate Croatia, for example, which is perhaps the foremost example of this, on their successful accession into the European Union in 2013. And while the region has witnessed some major steps forward over the last 2 decades, including the independence of Kosovo, the pace of progress appears to have slowed and perhaps even regressed in certain cases. Later this year, we will celebrate the 20-year anniversary of the Dayton Peace Accords, which ended the Bosnian War. Reaching that agreement was an admirable diplomatic accomplishment, yet the political framework that ended the fighting has proven structurally unable to build a state which governs effectively or meets the expectations of its people. I noted that over the weekend, the leader of the Republic of Srpska called for a referendum to determine if the Serb enclave in Bosnia should break away unless it's granted further autonomy. Clearly, the current arrangement in Bosnia is not working. In Macedonia, the exposure of a massive internal surveillance scheme has rocked that small nation, highlighting the immense challenges of building a state which respects the rule of law and the rule of law both inside the government and the rule of law outside the government. Next door, EU brokered peace talks between Serbia and Kosovo just a few years ago resulted in an agreement entitled Principles of Governing the Normalization of Relations, end of quote. While we are all happy that a solution was reached between these two sides, there remains ample reason for concern. I remain doubtful about the prospect of integrating Serbs, for example, who live in the northern part of Kosovo, and I am somewhat doubtful about them integrating into the rest of the country. If the Serb community in the northern part of Kosovo wishes to be governed by Belgrade, we should acknowledge their right to determine for themselves what country they will live in and make their own self-determination. This is the same principle, I might add, that led us to support the Albanian Kosovars in their desire for self-determination 2 decades ago. In closing, the Western Balkans collectively have been aided by deployment of at least 3 separate NATO missions, which included a significant contingent of U.S. military personnel who I visited over the years. Billions of dollars have been spent by the European Union and our own government to support economic development, reduce ethnic tensions, and build modern states. Between 1990 and 2012, U.S. aid spent over $1.7 billion aid dollars to help the Western Balkans. And what has that huge sum of money and what has it accomplished over the years? What about diplomatic accomplishments? What have they achieved, and or what are their efforts anyway? And has outside engagement reached an effective limit there in that part of the world? And to get answers for some of those questions and others, we will hear our witnesses today. Panel one, first of all, I will, Mr. Series, would you like to have an opening statement? And then I will introduce the witnesses.